Good morning. It is Wednesday, November 16th, 2022. I just want to dive right in and start on the subject today. The reason I feel the need to work on this skill of talking and really conversation, getting my ideas out of my head, all of that is because of my son. He has radically changed the way I think about my life. I feel a lot more responsibility about who I am, the man that I am, my confidence levels, the skills that I have, the skills that I'm going to pass on to him, the faults that I'm going to pass on to him, and the ability to overcome those faults. When he was born, and even before he was born, I have felt that fear, or fear is the right word there, of not being a good example, not being a good father. And I have to change a lot of my habits, things that I'm doing. I have been pretty lazy the past few years. I have been a lazy husband and just a lazy contributor to our family in a lot of ways. I think some people might say it's not lazy or whatever, but to a Scritchfield, there's a lot of work cut out for me. My own father has set a great example of what it means to be a confident man and a provider for his household, and an example of what it means to be a man of Christ, someone that follows him no matter what, and digs deep to be disciplined and lead his family. So I've been listening to some books. I can't remember the names of them right now. I think the one I'm listening to right now is The Intentional Father. I just listened to Habits of the Household, so I guess I do remember the names of them. Amazing books. Something that I like to do is listen to books because I can work and listen, or I'll fall asleep listening to the books, or I just don't have time to sit down and solely read a book. So most of the time, or I just don't want to because I'm fidgety and I like to do multiple things at once. So something that my father did right before I married my wife was something he called a man vent. Was basically an initiation into manhood. And maybe it was a little bit late or whatever. I was 21, 22. I was 22 when we got married, and he invited all of the men that had a huge influence in my life. And that included my first pastor, my youth pastor, and current pastor at the church we were at in Phoenix when we lived in Phoenix, worship pastor there, and my wife's father as well. I had talks with them and walked with them along a road and at the end of the road came to a cabin where many other men that were in my life that had maybe less influence, but still a substantial influence in my life. He had invited them all there. And man, I could not help but just cry that whole time because I felt the weight of what all of those men had done in my life and their own discipline in their lives that had led to really just, a kid that had been in their life. And they had influenced me in such a profound way that it just brought me to utter tears for whatever, like 30 minutes, an hour. It really took me out. And it was also super weird that they were all together in one place, from my childhood to, living in a different city, and my wife's family is from Michigan. So they were all just like in one spot. Super, super weird. And thinking about all of the lessons and the things that my dad brought me through kind of came to a point on that night. And I've just been thinking a lot about that night and my dad the last few days, and what impact I'm going to have on my son. And a vision that I've had for the Scritchfield line, or family line, is that every generation is better than the last. And I have a lot to catch up with my own father. He is a very hardworking man and is still working very hard to make our entire family work and be even better. And but instilling that in my own son and all of the principles, and it's kind of analyzing my childhood and what places that my dad did really well, but also places that I feel like he either missed or I wish he did better. And, however you want to view that. I love my father and I love how he raised me. But he wasn't perfect, and I'm not going to be perfect, but I want to be even better than he was in instilling in my own son what it means to be a man, what it means to be disciplined, what it means to overcome challenges in our life and his own life. And just been thinking about that a lot. And I have the thing that is hurting the most and hitting me the most right now is my relationship with the Lord. And it has been very murky the last few years. I've gone through a lot of challenges. I hit some pretty hard waters a few years ago. I lost a best friend to cancer. I had moved away from home, and I was also dating a girl at the time, and all within the span of 2 weeks, my friend had passed away. I broke up with that girlfriend, and she was kind of my first serious girlfriend that I really cared about. And then I lost my job and I had to move back home, all within the span of 2 weeks. And that was really, really hard for me. It really crushed me, and I did not feel equipped to handle that situation or really led through that situation. I kind of thought I was okay the whole time, and it has led to a lot of questioning of my faith and not even like being mad at God, just kind of not using him as a resource, as my rock, my foundation for my life. And I turned to other things that, at the time was porn and just wasting time on YouTube and video games. Really just trying to be medicated to not process the situation. And I've let that fester for a really long time. And remnants of that still hold on to me, and I've been trying to break them off and reform those habits of turning to the Lord when times are hard and when I'm stressed and fearful, and when things don't go my way. And that's just happened, more than it did when I was a teenager. My life was really easy back then, and my parents took care of a lot of things for me. I was very privileged growing up, and I can't deny that, and I'm very grateful for that. But at the same time, I did not feel equipped to handle a hard time or just hard times. So I've been slowly making a change. It's been very slow, but I've been reading the Word more throughout the week, trying to. Definitely been talking to the Lord a lot more, and asking him what he has for my life. And maybe tomorrow I'll talk about kind of another thing that kind of happened during that time of me moving to Phoenix to pursue my wife from California, and kind of stepping away from responsibilities and stuff. But that's for tomorrow. Hopefully I'll remember that. Yep. Well, this is a good long video. I think I feel pretty good about it. Had some breaks, had some ums, but was mostly just free-flowing, which felt good. So, to kind of recap, I'm really working on my relationship with the Lord, working on my confidence and what it means for me to be a man, and transferring that to my son as he grows older. He's 7 months old right now, as of tomorrow. So I have a few months really to get my crap together, and start living a life that's a true example of what it means to be Christ-like, what it means to be a man, and what it means to be a Scritchfield. So, alrighty, I'm signing off. I'll see you tomorrow.